Hello and welcome to Blaugrana Everything News Roundup, quick summary of the main events that have happened in the world of FC Barcelona. In today's roundup, we'll be talking about Jaden Philogene and Barcelona's interest in him, Ansu Fati and Barcelona's plan for him this summer. Then we'll look at some news regarding Alex Valle and his possible inclusion in the first team. We'll then get into some honorable mentions, looking at some departures the club has announced, before finally closing things up by talking about Ilkay Gundogan and a few things he spoke about in an interview. If you're new here, do hit subscribe, and if you enjoy the video, please hit like, because that pleases the algorithm gods and guarantees that you can see more content like this in your feeds. Plus, if the audio sounds a bit weird today, please do forgive me, it's a different setup. So, we shall start with the news regarding Jaden Philogene. Jaden Philogene's move to Barcelona is potentially becoming a bit more complicated now, as it has emerged that the young winger would rather prioritize a move to the Premier League. As of Wednesday, the news was that Philogene was waiting to make his decision on his future, and that it wouldn't be a saga because it was expected that he'd be very interested to Barcelona, and that he was getting open to the idea of playing on loan with Barcelona, who were hoping to get him on a loan with option to buy kind of deal. But there was also firm interest from the likes of Crystal Palace, Everton and Ipswich Town, who did submit a £35 million bid for his services. My thoughts on this is that for those who are lost, first of all, Philogene is an English youngster who plays for Hull City, and he has over the past season been turning heads whilst doing so. He is a left winger, an area of the pitch that Barcelona are in need of reinforcements in. But from the moment that this story emerged, I did have my doubts about how serious Barcelona were with signing him, which explains why I haven't honestly covered this story on this platform since it emerged. So for me, it's not much of a shocker to see that Philogene doesn't seem so interested in a move to Barca, because unlike Ipswich, who offered 35 million and probably a big contract to go with that transfer, Barcelona are only interested in signing him on a loan with an option to buy, meaning they're not really ready to take the risk of footing the bill to bring him permanently, because they're not sure if he's going to pay off. Now, that doesn't exactly scream we want to sign you, Jaden, if you ask me, so it makes sense that the player has instead opted on setting his sights on a Premier League move. It does, however, make me a bit worried about how Barcelona are conducting their search for a left winger, because they've been linked with Luis Diaz, Nico Williams and Jaden Philogene, all three of whom are in different developmental stages of their careers, and one could argue that they would bring different aspects as well to Barcelona's attack. And of course, all three would also cost very different amounts of money for Barcelona, not only on the wage bill, but in terms of transfer fee as well. So it's a bit of a head scratcher what Barcelona exactly are planning for left wing. But speaking of left wing options and Barcelona's plans, we have to talk about a certain left winger who wears the number 10 and what plans Barcelona have for him. That's right, we're going to talk for a little bit about Ansu Fati. Reports emerging say that Barcelona are preparing a physical plan for Ansu Fati to see how he does during preseason, since they want to see the best version of him, and also they want to give the player the best chance for him to prove his value to the club. Reportedly though, it's also being claimed that, on the hush-hush, Barcelona would consider a permanent sale of Ansu Fati for a transfer fee worth about 40 million euros. So, what are my thoughts on this? Honestly, if there's anybody who deserves to be given another chance at Barca, it's Ansu Fati. He deserves as many chances as maybe Ter Stegen or Ferran Torres or Frankie de Jong are going to get, because with the exception of Ter Stegen, he has done just about as much, if not more, for the club than the other two guys. And I mean, since his debut, he's arguably been as important to Barcelona's fortune as Marc-Andre Ter Stegen was. So give him his shot. It's easy to forget, but Ansu was the exact kind of profile of forward that the team currently needs. A player who can create his own shooting opportunities and who can finish chances clinically. Away from left wing, we will now turn our attention to left back and a certain Alex Valle. Reports doing the rounds say that the club's idea is to have both Alejandro Balde and Alex Valle as left back options come next season. There is also a unilateral option to renew Valle's contract, which Barcelona intends to activate. This would then see his release clause go up from 1 million euros to 13 million euros. What are my thoughts on this? Well, Alex Valle is a player who has the potential to probably be like next season's Fermin Lopez for Barca, because he's one of those unicorns in the world of Barca, a player who went out on a loan and has seen his stocks rise and has come back in better standing than when he left. While I do not have any issues with him being in the first team dynamics, I am a bit skeptical about Barcelona's planning, as in, are they really trying to go through the whole next season with no real experienced options at left back? Like, don't get it twisted, I look forward to seeing Alex Valle in action for Barcelona, but considering that it's just him and Alejandro Balde, and also the intensity of Hansi Flick's football and how much it relies on players reading play to know when to push up, when to drop back, you'd think an experienced left-back option who is not yet past his prime would be a great addition to the squad as well. But speaking about experienced left-backs, well, we have to talk about one who is sadly past his prime and get into our honorable mentions by talking about Marcos Alonso and also about Sergi Roberto. Why? Well, because Alonso and Roberto's contracts have expired and the former is for sure gone, and hats off to him and thanks to him for his contribution in Xavi's second season. When Barca won La Liga, he scored a fair amount of goals in that campaign, especially for a defender. As for Roberto, I think we might still probably have to wait until deadline day to know if his fate has apparently been sealed or not, whether he's still going to wear a Barcelona jersey come next season. Because, as a friend of mine did joke, you could be talking about the fact that Roberto's contract has expired right now and you still see him coming on as a substitute in a Champions League knockout round for Barcelona. Okay, it's just how it is. Okay, we can wind this up now by looking at what Ilkay Gundogan had to say recently in an interview that he gave to The Athletic. He discussed his lack of success playing for Barca, and this is what he had to say. For a long time, I have been playing for Germany without thinking too much. I'm so comfortable on the pitch with my teammates and in my position. At Man City, I played a lot in this role as well. With Barca though, I've played in many positions wherever I have been needed, so it has been a bit messy with a lot of changes in the position. I have needed to adapt constantly. Sometimes playing well is also knowing which position you play, who is playing around you, and feeling comfortable with that. Gundogan then went on to add, I like to be in front of the team, and if the coach tells me, look Gundo, you did this wrong, I want to get better, so thanks for letting me know. If it's in front of my teammates, even better, so they can see what we all need to do, he added. I see myself as very tolerant. Everyone is so different and I love it. I am far away from saying everyone has to think like me, because I am far away from being perfect myself, but if you're not honest, your progress will get stuck, and that's the only way to keep improving. And well, there's not that much you can honestly add to all of those words. Honestly, quite well spoken here by Ilkay Gundogan, and the only thing that I could probably say is I don't necessarily agree that his time at Barca so far hasn't been successful. I mean, despite what people might say, that first season by Gundogan was actually pretty good when you consider how Xavi was forced to deploy him all over the midfield. But despite all of that, he still finished with the most assists, and he also scored some clutch goals for Barca. Think a Clásico, think that win at Las Palmas. But hopefully next season can get even better for him, and hopefully the next episode can get even better from me as well, because we are done for today. That's right. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barça.